Rocket Mortgage is trying to change the housing market forever. If you haven't seen, Rocket Mortgage is dropping billions and billions of dollars buying both Mr. Cooper, aka Servicer, and Redfin, aka Listings. What does this mean for the housing industry? Is this a waste of billions of dollars? What might come from this? We're going to talk with Dana Dumford, CEO of Hemlane. I don't know if you've seen this, Dana. I'm sure you have, but Rocket Mortgage has opened the checkbook. They have gone on an acquisition binge. What do you think?
Well, first, I want to start with acquisitions are very hard. They're very challenging to do. Culturally, companies are different, right? Mm-hmm. You never know what you're going to get until you're done with the acquisition. And on top of that, there's always this question, we always have it, of buy versus build. Yep. Do you buy the company, and what are you buying it for? Are you valuing it based on the number of customers they have? Are you valuing it based on the brand? Are you valuing it because they have great technology so you don't have to build it? And so I think with any real estate company that is out there acquiring, or just a large corporation, they really need to get that right and really understand what they're buying for. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think it's a smart move for them. I kind of wonder why they still call themselves Rocket Mortgage. They might just want to call them Rocket Real Estate. It's even a better alliteration or something. Because with Rocket Mortgage, right, you're not thinking of an all-encompassing entity, which if you look at it, I draw kind of a parallel to Google, where Google then was like, okay, no, we're called Alphabet. And every single line of business has to perform. So one, I believe they're doing it because with the mortgage industry where it is, they have to grow through other services. They cannot just stay in their lane of doing mortgages. Yeah. And the bigger you get, the harder it is, obviously, to grow. The second thing is it's really hard to innovate. And this is that innovator's dilemma when you're a large company. That's why startups are so great and people want to invest in them, because you basically take 100 of them and there may be only one winner in them. And so when you get to a certain size, you say, instead of us going to try to build Redfin and try to build both a platform where you can find properties as well as a brokerage, why don't we just go buy one? It's not us being 1 out of 100. The chances of us succeeding is not going to work. And I also think they're getting pretty good prices. There have been some key decisions on the strategy side that many of these companies like Redfin messed up. Mm-hmm. And those couple of decisions they made put them in a more vulnerable position. Whereas, like, actually, this company looks much more attractive to purchase. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to say about it is a lot of times when you see these acquisitions and the dollar value associated with them, what they're doing is giving the executives and leadership team equity into their company. And so it's almost just a rollover and this entity becomes part of it. So it's not as much of a capital outlay as you would see if you were an investor trying to go into Redfin. So overall, I think it's smart for them to go into other things. I always have this question of, can you get the systems to seamlessly work together? I think that's the more challenging part. Or do you just kind of do you see this with like food companies, like PepsiCo, every single line of business is different. I think in tech, it's really hard to do that. So when you're selling consumer goods, it's very easy to say, here's the Pepsi line of business. Here's the Cheetos line of business. Here's the, because they don't have to work seamlessly together. I think in tech, I kind of compare it to Apple, having everything all in one, everything working together. You find your property on Redfin, then you go to Rocket Mortgage and you get your mortgage. And I think trying to get that to work together is going to be much more challenging. And that would be where my big concern is.
Yeah. So I've been I've been a part of acquisitions and been a part of thumbs up, thumb down evaluations of $1 billion acquisitions. So again, I think you've highlighted the tech in the cultural stuff really, really well. Where my brain goes, just because that's where I spent my career, is okay, assuming this happens, what's the sales leadership do? And
Mhm.
where I go to this, I actually think they have two, like, it's almost like two paths. They have the right now and then they have the next year. What do I mean by that? The right now, because again, you're absolutely right. The mortgage business sucks. The housing industry sucks. But what they're going to be able to do with Mr. Cooper, specifically the servicer, is they're going to be able to figure out and basically do like sniper based marketing. Like, oh, by the way, you bought house 123, your rate is 123. How would you like a 123 mortgage? It'll save you $400. So what they're going to be able to do once they have Mr. Cooper is not a shotgun blast refi. They're going to be able to get like super specific and just, it's going to be a game changer in the short term, right? Especially if rates cooperate, right? If rates go down 0.5%, you could see that rocket Mr. Cooper partnership light up the refi business at Rocket, because again, it's not shotgun, it's sniper. But now step back and look a year out. I think what the folks at Rocket are looking at is they're reimagining the entire ownership process from I'm searching for a home to I'm qualifying for a home to I'm writing offers to I'm this to I'm that. And they're basically trying to say, how can we become the premium offering, soup to nuts? And again, calling Rocket premium is frankly a joke at the moment because they're just a call center, beating people up. However, they could have a vision, and I don't know that they do, but if I look at this as a senior leader in sales, I'd be like, how do we put all this together and become the premium option? Because in an environment that gets more and more competitive, you either compete on price or on service. And the people that are premiums, they get bigger margins. So that's kind of how I look at these two things. Am I all wet, or what do you think?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think I've always learned this with business. It's about sequencing. And what are you going to do now? Which I love you spoke about. Now it's just the lead generation. We've got much bigger lists to call and more data, which with sales, if you have data, you can hit people at the right time. So it's all about sequencing. It's that. And then the second part is cohesively working together to build it to something even bigger. So I love that point. I couldn't agree more. I do think with how large these companies are, and how different cultures may be, it's going to be more challenging than they think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, thinking about the cultural, I mean, again, I don't know any of these companies, but my experience with them, Rocket is essentially a data warehouse or data mart with a bunch of call centers. Very, very boiler room-ish would be my kind of guess. Mr. Cooper is probably, it's a servicer. So it's kind of stodgy, and it's not the same cutthroat, eat what you kill atmosphere. It's like, oh, let's just keep collecting the payments and updating the escrow statements. And just I see the speed different, which I think is going to be the big difference between like when I think about Rocket Mortgage and what their tech team and sales team and marketing team are doing, they're operating at light speed. When I think about Mr. Cooper, and again, I can be wrong, but just knowing that industry, it's like, yeah, we'll get to that tomorrow. Right. We'll get to that next week. I'm like, that is not going to be a happy marriage right there.
Definitely. And I do think there is something. I remember this when I was at Nest and we were going through the acquisition with Google. It was such a culture shock because everyone at Nest had come from Apple. And there was almost this slowdown of things because you weren't all aligned moving in the same direction with the ship. And it took a while. What they did, which they did well, which I assume Rocket Mortgage will do, is they started bringing executives from Google over. And just said, you're going to have to be part of this culture. We are all going to be part of the same culture here. And it takes time. It has to be done well. And I think a lot of the efficiency gains you can get, but you really need them to cross collaborate between the orgs, because if they're not talking every day to each other, you're missing a lot of opportunity there and leaving money on the table. Oh, I don't know where Michael went. I don't know. I don't know where Michael is. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 So,